Hi everybody, happy Sunday. Welcome to Nighttime with Nina. I am in a spot that is probably recognizable to some of you. I'm back in my office. We're not back working in person yet, but there was still stuff left over from Christmas outside my office that really needed to get put away. And there were still some pieces of leftover gingerbread house that did not need to be in my office, because I don't know about you, but if you know about leaving open food someplace, I didn't want to come back to my office and have some furry friends with long tails who decided to come into my office and nibble on some gingerbread. So I had to come back and clean up. But as long as I'm here, I decided to read one of my favorite books that is here in my office. And it's one, a lot of you have probably read some of the stories by this author. I actually have another one to read in a couple of episodes, but this one is Sofia Valdez, Future Prez by Andrea Beatty and illustrated by David Roberts. Sofia was a baby who got things done, helping her family before she turned 1. She and Abuelo went out every week to help elderly friends around Blue River Creek who couldn't get out and about on their own, and with no place to gather, were stuck home alone. Raking the leaves, taking pets for a walk, or just dropping by for a treat and a talk, Sofia Valdez did as much as she could for her family and friends and her whole neighborhood. A dreamer, a doer, a real-life go-getter. Most people like good, but Sofia liked better. Each morning, Abuelo walked Sophie to class. They walked home again along Blue River Pass, making plans, munching cookies, Abuelo and girl. Except for that Tuesday when Pup saw the squirrel. With a howl, Pup took off, racing all through the town, over, under, beneath, and around. Sophia scrambled to try and keep up with the hollering man and the bellowing Pup. Up the squirrel ran to the top of a hill made up of leftover junk for the local landfill. They reached the tip-top of that mountain of trash, which jiggled and broke with an ear-splitting crash. Down they all tumbled and hit with a thud on a moldy old pumpkin surrounded by mud. "Ouch!" cried Abuelo. He struggled to stand. "A dangerous mess," he said, grabbing her hand. The next day, Sofia walked to school solo, but it wasn't the same without her Abuelo. "This is not right," declared young Sofia, who glared at Mount Trashmore. Then got an idea. The very next morning, at dawn, she planted a sign at the front of the lawn. She stood back and smiled, and Pup gave a bark. "Let's get rid of Mount Trashmore. Let's build a new park." Each of her neighbors had something to say about benches and fountains and places to play, meeting spots, gardens, a basket for bees, a rubber duck pond, and a kiosk for cheese. She drew every thought on her map of the park, which was perfectly perfect by a quarter till dark. I love the illustrations in this book. I just love how interesting everybody looks. She drifted to sleep in her soft, cozy bed. Then, bam, she woke up when a thought smacked her head. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized each one of her neighbors had said, "Let me know when it's done." They all thought Sofia could build it alone. But how could one girl do so much on her own? The weight of the thought made her tender heart ache as night thunder growled and she lay wide awake. Then dawn brought a storm and the gloomy sky wept, and the heartsick Sofia finally slept. Also, she has great taste in role models. Frida Kahlo and Sade, awesome. If you don't know who Sade is, she's a really, really incredible musician. You should check her out. Abuelo baked cookies when Sophie got up. He gave her a bagful and sneaked one to Pup. He blinked back a tear as he hugged his Sofia. "For courage," he whispered. "Te amo, mi vida." Sophia's knees wobbled. She felt weak inside. She looked at his ankle and quite nearly cried, though she didn't feel brave or courageous at all. Sofia Valdez went to face City Hall. Ooh. It's a big building and a little girl. The mayor's office sent her to room 401, the Blue River Creek Department of Fun. P.S. I want to work in the Department of Fun. Maybe I do. Which sent her downstairs to room 302, the office of duck ponds and cool things to do. I also want to work in the Department of Cool Things to Do. To the Office of Monkeys, the Department of Cheese, the Division of Fountains and Meetings and Bees, then down to the basement so musty and cramped, where all the town's papers were sorted and stamped. And that's where the clerk said what no one else did. You can't build a new park. You're only a kid. That's why you'd be able to see all of the offices that she went to, including the Office of Cheese. And then there's the clerk saying, can't build a new park, you're only a kid. The words smacked Sofia deep down in her heart. Her plan was kiboshed before it could start. I think, said Sofia, I think that law's wrong. But her second grade voice didn't sound very strong. The clerk said, clearly it cannot be done. Do you have any questions? Sofia said, 1. If you were me, and if I was you, and he was your grandpa, well, what would you do? Well, said the clerk. Then she said nothing at all. She thought, and she thought. Then she sent out a call to every employee throughout City Hall. The entire government of Blue River Creek crammed into the office to hear Sophie speak, but her words jumbled up and her cheeks turned bright red as a dozen emotions rushed into her head. Her heart beat so loudly she thought it would crack. The crowd leaned in closer. Sofia leaned back. Then her arm brushed the edge of the old cookie sack. And that was the moment when Sofia first knew being brave means doing the thing you must do, though your heart cracks with fear, though you're just in grade 2. Also, this is the coolest city government I've ever seen. Look at how awesome and incredible and different they all look. She took a deep breath, looked the mayor in the eye, and though her knees wobbled, she held her head high. Sofia started talking. She spelled out her plan and why it all mattered and how it began. And once she got rolling, she had lots to say about meeting spots, monkeys, and places to play, and other ideas for things they could do to help the town elders and other folks too. She had thoughts on the library, thoughts on the zoo, and perhaps a way to combine the two. And so just to see some of her incredible ideas, we've got rubber ducks and the rubber duck pond. She's got a library for monkeys. And this says, I love bees, baskets for bees, I love cheese, maybe a fountain of cheese, cheese kiosk. A kiosk for cheese. Cheese for everyone. Monkeys love books. Zoo library. Loan a llama. So many incredible ideas. All right, said the mayor. Go start a petition. If the town wants a new park, we'll form a commission. And so young Sofia got right to work with some help from her family and pup and the clerk. Look at, let's build a park. And there's the awesome clerk. A park for everyone. And Grandpa, sign our petition, please. And in case you can't see, his buttons on his hat have a peace sign, a pink triangle, and Si se puede. I think her grandpa is teaching her how to be an activist. Oh, and the little dog says barks for parks. Grandpa taught her how to be an activist by being one himself. And then others joined in. Not all, but a few, like Miss Lila Greer and the kids in grade 2. There are quite a few kids that you might recognize from some of the other books. Iggy Peck, architect, is in there. Rosie Revere, engineer, and Ada Twist, scientist. And so Ada Twist has her scientists need parks. Give bees a chance. Sign our petition, please. A park to think in. Architects for parks. There's Iggy. We love parks. We can do it. There's Rosie Revere. And there's Ada Twist, of course. Get rid of Mount Trashmore, somewhere that's green. We need more green. Si se puede. Sign our petition, please. There were hearings and surveys and taxes to figure, then bulldozers, cranes, and a blue, bigger digger. They all built that park. That's how it got done, with the hard work of, by, and for everyone. But it began with the dream of one person, just one, who laced up her shoes and then led the way to help Blue River Creek to get a new place to play. Now, every evening till long after dark, the town comes together at Citizens Park. They all hold this truth to be self-evident, that Sofia Valdez could grow up to be president. Until then, Sofia, that real-life go-getter, helps Blue River Creek get better and better. And I want to come in close so you can see this truly spectacular Citizens Park. And I also like that Miss Lila Greer, the second grade teacher, is driving the bulldozer. And this book says, this book is dedicated to you. You are braver than you know and mightier than you can ever imagine. Be bold. And this is a note from the author. Sofia Valdez was inspired not by one person, but many. Some small, some tall, some young, some old, people from every part of the world. Girls, boys, men, women, people who saw a problem and worked to fix it. Even when it was hard, even when it was scary. Some are famous, most are not. They took one small step and then took another and another, and they inspired other people. Through their journey, they changed the world. Just like all of you have a possibility of changing the world every day. So if you have a big idea, don't let it go. And I'm not the clerk of a city government, but I love hearing big ideas and seeing if it's something that we can help make happen. So I'd love to hear your big idea and see if it's something I can support you in, because we need big thinkers like all of you kids out there to make the world a better place. Have a great night, and until our next time, bye-bye.